Okay, good morning and welcome to our next lesson in substitution, which is in your note packet for section 5-3. We're going to do example 1 and example 2 here. Okay, so just a reminder that we are trying to solve a system here without graphing, but we're trying to figure out the ordered pair that if we did graph it, where they would cross. Okay, so to solve by substitution, what we want to do is use the steps that we used in the last video. We want to start by looking for one of the equations to be there, either x equals or y equals. And if they're not, we put them that way. Okay, so in this first example, I see a y equal 2x minus 3. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to substitute that whole equation in for y. So the difference is this time, as opposed to last time, we have an entire equation that needs to go in there instead of just maybe one number. So this equation we're going to put in for y. And then we're going to rewrite it. So it's now going to say x, and that's a 1x, plus, and now instead of y, we're going to put the equation we have, 2x minus 3, equal now 3. And now we're going to see if we can simplify. So we can simplify because we've got like terms. We've got 1x and a positive 2x that can go together. So that would be 3x minus 3 equal 3. Ooh, a lot of 3's there. Okay, then we're going to solve the equation for x. So this one is already on the opposite side of the equal sign. We need to get this 3 and this 3 to the opposite side. So to undo minus 3, we will add 3 to both sides. That one cancels, and I'm going to continue over here. 3x now equal 3 plus 3 is 6. And then to undo a 3x, remember this is 3 times x, we're going to divide this 3 to cancel it, and divide by 3 here, and we find out x equal 2. Now, recall that this is an ordered pair, so this is only half of our answer. And our ordered pairs are always x comma y, so this would be the first part of our answer. 2 comma, oh, sorry, can't see that. And now we need to figure out the y value. So the easiest way to do that is to go back to your y equals equation and substitute the x value into that equation. So I'm going to go back to the original here, the y equal 2x minus 3, and I'm going to replace this x in here with my answer I got here. So if I rewrite the second part, y equals 2, and instead of x I'm going to say times 2 now, my answer, minus 3. Okay, well 2 times 2 is 4, minus 3, I get y equal 1, and that's the second part of my ordered pair. And now I know that if I were to graph this system of equations, they would cross at 2 comma 1. Okay, let's try again. So I'm going to do example 2 for the sake of the video, and then I am going to start us on some questions on our assignment. Okay, example 2, same deal, except for when we look at this one, our y equals equation is at the bottom instead of the top. And that doesn't really matter. So something that we want to look at is, all right, this one is y equals. We can still take that and substitute it into the top y now. Okay, so let's rewrite that one. 2x plus, not y now, 3x plus 4 equals 6. Okay, take a look. Is there anything in here that I can put together? All right, if you put 2x with positive 3x, those are like terms. We get 5x plus 4 equals 6. Okay, now we're to the point where we can start solving the equation. We have to undo everything that's on the same side as the x. So I want to undo this plus 4, so I'm going to subtract. All right, so I have 5x equal 2 now. And then I want to undo this 5 times x, so I'm going to divide. And I get x equal 2/5, which is a decimal, okay, or a fraction. So x equal 2/5, or if you divide that out, 2/5 is actually going to give you 0.4. Okay? Now, this is the reason why graphing isn't always the best method, because trying to estimate a 2/5 or 0.4 on a graph where it crosses is pretty difficult. All right, so in our answer now, this is our x value, and so I will use the decimal here, 0.4 as my decimal, just because it's a little bit easier sometimes to work with a decimal when we put it back in the equation. Okay, so now we need our y value. We're going to go back to this original equation here, and we're going to substitute 0.4 in for x. So y equals, not 3x, 3 times 0.4 plus 4. Well, 3 times 0.4 would give you 1.2, and if you then add that to 4, you get y equal 5.2. All right, and so that's the second part of our ordered pair, and that goes here for this y value. And so now, without graphing this, we know that this system will cross at 0.4 comma 5.2, and that's a good method, because if we tried to graph that and estimate that on a graph using a ruler, it would be really difficult to get the exact answer. Okay, so we're going to save example 3 for a new day, but I do want to get you started on the assignment if you're in my class. So I'm going to do a couple of equations with you, and then hopefully it will help you get started. All right, let's start with number 1, which is an easy one. It's a throwback to what we've been doing before this. So in this case, they're both y equals. So I'm going to take the smaller y equals and substitute it into the larger one, when in actuality it's going to be the same thing. All right, so I get negative 3 now equals 7x minus 10. And this doesn't look too much like our notes, because now I have just the equation to solve. If it makes you feel better, you can rewrite this in the opposite direction. And you can very easily see now that you are already to the point where you're going to solve the equation. So we're going to undo minus 10 and add it. Okay, so then I get 7x equal negative 3 plus 10 is going to give me 7. Then I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides, and I get x equal 1. So in my ordered pair, that's the first answer. And in this case, it tells me the second answer in the original system. So y equal negative 3, that is my answer. Okay, good. So that's kind of a throwback to what we were doing before. Let's move on to something a little bit more challenging. So move down to number 3. Again, they're both in y equals, so we're going to take the smaller y equals and substitute it into the other one. So this one's smaller, I'm going to put it into that one. And you can do it the other way, but just to stay consistent in my class, I like giving students a method. Okay, so we're going to rewrite this as 6x equal 5x plus 7. Okay, now this one is a little more challenging, right? We have an x on either side of the equation, and we only want to contain the x's on one side. So what I'm going to do to undo this, to get all the x's on the left side, that means we have to cancel the x on the right. So the opposite of 5x would be negative 5x. That can cancel it, and that means I can put it over here. So I'm going to do the same on the left. So 6x minus 5x gives me 1x. Now what I have left over here is positive 7, so I'm going to bring that down. And then I'm to the last step of this equation already, which is technically to divide. So I'm going to divide that 1 out of there, and I get x equals 7. Okay, already that's the first part of my answer. Now you can substitute 7 into either of these two equations. I choose to substitute it into the smaller one because it's less work. So I'm going to substitute it into that top one. So I'm going to rewrite that as y equals 6 times 7. And so y equal 42. And so that's the second part of my answer. And there's my ordered pair. And again, this is the reason why we substitute. Not only is it hard to do fractions and decimals and estimate those on a graph, but if we were making a graph that crossed at 7, 42, that would be quite a large graph and a lot of work. Okay, one last one that is a little bit different. Let's turn it to the back. That'd be number 13. So this one we did not have in our notes, so it's super important that we go over this. So we will start like we have already. The y equals is at the top, so we know we're going to substitute that into this y right here. Okay, so let's rewrite this equation. This is 3x, plus 3, and now to put 2x in there, I have to times it. So I am going to say, put this in parentheses as a times, and then I'm going to say equal -18. Now, before I can do any solving on this, I need to times this out. So I'm going to do one multiplication or distribute that, and I'm going to rewrite that. 3 times 2x is 6x. Then I'm going to bring down the plus and the 3x here, and the equal and the -18. Okay, now take a look. Is it solving it like we've been doing before? Yes, it is. But we have to add like terms. 3x plus 6x is 9x, equal -18. Okay, so 9x, to undo that, we're going to divide by 9, and we get x equal -2. So that's the first part of my answer is -2. Now I have to solve for y. And again, you can put that in either equation, but it's really clear that the top equation is much less work. It's way shorter, way smaller. But if you put it in the bottom one, you should get the same answer if you do the math correctly. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the top one. Y equal 2 now times -2. Well, 2 times -2 is -4. And that is the second part of my ordered pair. And there's my answer. Okay, hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any questions on the assignment and you're in my class, please feel free to email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great day.